In her esophagus and smeared all over her skin is a mixture of urine and feces.
Huh?
And there's a tiny little cockroach.
No. This is freaking me out. Okay. Because the one time I had some paranormal shit happen, there were cockroaches everywhere, bro. This video is the true case behind the Incantation horror movie. Family of 6 possessed by demons until one is dead. Let's go.
Bada bing, bada boo.
Ever since Ronan, a mom in Taiwan, she's invited her daughter back to come live with her. Ever since the two have been reunited, very strange things have been happening. 6 years ago, something happened where the mom, Ronan, could no longer take care of her daughter anymore.
Damn, Ronan looked good for her age. I'm not gonna lie. Was she a mom? She probably like what, late 20s, mid 30s? Like, damn. Shout out to her. Shout out to youth.
His name is Dodo, and she could hardly take care of herself, let alone make sure that Dodo is being safe and well fed. But that's 6 years ago. Ronan today, she's different now. She's ready to be a mom again. She can take care of her daughter Dodo. After 6 years of being apart, obviously the initial meeting is definitely a little awkward, but there is this connection there because that's her kid. So for a little while, it seems like the two of them, they're gonna go home. They're gonna slip into a very natural, familiar family life where they just enjoy doing all these mundane things that they missed out on together. But then all these strange little things start happening, and they're not little. On the very first night that daughter Dodo returns home, they hear this huge bang in the other room, and there's this sound of shattering glass. Ronan runs into the next room to investigate because it sounds like a home intruder or something. But when she gets in there, all she finds, the floor covered with shattered glass, and there's a tiny little cockroach. It seems like the cockroach
Bro, okay, I've been saying this for no. This is freaking me out. Okay, because the one time I had some paranormal shit happen, there were cockroaches everywhere, bro. There was like 10 of them. There was literally 10 of them. One time I literally had my toilet, like the water, it was, my friend cast a spell, okay, over Discord, like as a joke, that was gonna help me win a league game. I was already winning the league game. Then mid-league game, I'm like 10 kills up, okay, mid lane. My toilet behind me just starts like projectile shooting water at my ceiling. Like fire hydrant levels of water. Like it was insane. It was like raining in the damn bathroom, okay? And I was like, what the hell? And I didn't really know what it was at first. I thought my mom went in my room and like turned on my shower and was cleaning it or something. And then I get up to like look because the water had been on for a while. And then my bathroom is just like, it's like raining in my bathroom. And I'm like, what the hell? So I try to turn off my like toilet. It's not working. I run downstairs to get my mom. My mom's like, what? So she brings up a bunch of towels. We eventually get it off. And then we're wiping up everything. And while we're wiping up everything, my mom is like, oh my God, your shower is, look in your shower. And I look in my shower and there's 10 roaches in the shower. And I want you to know, before this league game, I have a squirrel bladder. You know this, right? If you watch me regularly. I have a squirrel bladder. Before the league game, I peed. Full view of the shower. That morning I showered. My shower was very clean. Okay, I had a white tub. It's pretty easy to tell if it's dirty. My shower was always pretty clean. And when I peed, I didn't see any roaches in there. And then when I go back in there after my toilet exploded, after my friend cast a spell, there's 10. And they're dead too. They're not alive. They're dead. They're all dead. Meaning they had to have been in there for a while to die. It's not like they were moving. They were all dead. Like, dog, what do I do with that information? Like, I just, got rid of the roaches and washed the shower out and was like, yeah. So that's why this freaks me out. Because, like, roaches, it's like, bro, I feel like that's gotta be something, bro. My life didn't get any worse after that. It was just that. Oh, and then we lost the league game that I got a spell to win.
In through the window, breaking the glass. Is that even physically possible?
No, bruh.
It's so strange. Later that
night.
night,
Also, something in this story was broken too. It was broken. My toilet broke. Cockroaches. This window broke cockroaches. This is making like what happened to me feel more real. I low-key was like, lying to myself that it was a coincidence, but nah.
Notices what looks like a burst eye vessel inside of her daughter's eye, but it's very eerily shaped, like the shape of a cockroach.
How old is the daughter?
6.
Oh.
And I think if that were
Yo, was she born on the 6th month, the 6th day in 2006?
all, maybe Ronan would try to look past it and start fresh because, there could be explanations for all of these things. Maybe the glass was already shattered. Maybe the cockroach is just a coincidence. There can be 1,001 explanations. But things start becoming unavoidable. It's not even just the small things anymore. Like, how do you explain when Dodo wakes up one day and her entire mouth is filled with teeth? She has double the amount of teeth. They're practically growing on her tongue. They're everywhere. Or the fact that Dodo, her daughter, is able to magically shut doors. She could be on the other side of the room and the door swings shut. The window's not even open. It's
Guys, I'm about to cook. Y'all gonna hate me for saying this? I've said this before. I know the answer to the whole case already. The mom has schizophrenia. That's it. That's the only way. That's the only way. I'm sorry. That's literally the only way this stuff could happen. Okay? In real life. That's it. You 100% would have to be so mentally ill that you were like seeing stuff and being paranoid about stuff that wasn't real, which is a telltale sign of schizophrenia, to be honest, or she's cursed, but personally I prefer to live in reality, okay, because I don't want to believe that shit's real, even though I experienced it, but it's not real to me. Coincidence.
it's not a breeze.
I also saw the top comment say something about mental health, so that's also kind of, I got spoiled a little bit.
How is she doing that? And who does she keep talking to? She keeps talking to someone that doesn't exist. Like she's playing with invisible friends that aren't actually there.
I think that's how schizophrenia works. Schizophrenia is like an extreme paranoia about certain things to where you delude yourself into believing different things are real that aren't real. You'll behave really erratically. You'll be paranoid about stuff that's unnecessary for you to be paranoid about. You'll think people are watching you, someone's after you, da-da-da-da. There's not exactly, you're not gonna like see visions of like random stuff happening like windows and stuff, but you can have some hallucinations because you can experience psychosis while like, having a schizophrenic episode. And also, sometimes you might not have even seen what happened, but you're so paranoid that it happened or the potential that it happened, will make you think it's real. It's kind of like gaslighting yourself that you saw something that you didn't see, essentially. Like that's really like how it works. And a lot of times people think they're possessed. 9 times out of 10, it's like something like psychosis or schizophrenia.
Yes, it's her daughter, but it's not normal. And she's confident that the real problem here is that Ronan is cursed. She's haunted, and this curse is being transferred to her daughter. 6 years ago, Ronan, for the sake of a YouTube video, entered this forbidden tunnel, a sacred space, and ever since then, her life has been cursed. And now her daughter...
Okay, are these footages like actually the real person?
...is gonna die unless she can find a way to help her. And this sounds very much like the plot of a movie, does it not? And that's because it is. That is the plot of the Taiwanese horror film Incantation. The reviews for that movie read, it's terrifying, exceptionally dark. If you can't watch anything terrible happening to young children, don't watch this. It's a type of movie to break your brain. I watched it and the movie stayed with me for years. I still think about it.
I still feel like if it's based on something in reality, it's based off the mother having a schizophrenic episode. And the worst, my thing is maybe the mom tortures the kid because of that. And that's going to be the whole case. This mom torturing this poor kid.
Not in a good way. But the truth
I don't care if Sam and Colby asked me to do some haunted shit. I ain't doing it, okay? I'll be that guy in the video that like, stands out front, cries, and like leaves. And I'll give you a thumbnail, but I ain't going in that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care. I got no reason to do that fuck shit.
The movie Incantation is actually based on a true story of a family in Taiwan and what happened to them when they get cursed by a demon. How they are tortured for 2 months straight until one of them ends up dead.
Nah, I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. It has to be the mom thinking this is happening and then like torturing her kid because of it. Because a lot of the times, like I've heard stories of children that parents had schizophrenia where their parents like pour bleach on them because they think there's like microorganisms living on their skin that are like spying on the family. Like, I'm so serious. Like, I know people that have had that happen to them, that have said this shit to me. So like, the parents with schizophrenia can do crazy shit to their kids if they think something's happening, which is why I'm like, this might be it.
Support the PAN Foundation. They focus on accessibility to healthcare, aiding underinsured people with their out-of-pocket costs, as well as actively advocating for improved access and affordability. This episode's
and that's like one of the more tame things. Like, I know a guy that was literally at one point stalking my mom and jumped off of a building because he thought he could fly. That he was also like stalking my mom too, casually. He had schizophrenia. It's a really serious medical condition if it gets untreated. Is he okay? Yeah, he's alive. He's chilling now. Every like 10 years, he'll show up at my mom's parents' house, like asking where she is. I'll tell that story another time. I totally forgot about that, not gonna lie. If y'all want me to tell that story, I will. I need to ask my parents for a rundown though, because I can't like, I'm not gonna be able to tell it accurately. I'll make a note of that.
Growing team, and we'd also like to thank you guys for your continued support as we work on our mission to be worthy advocates. As always, full show notes are available at rottenmangopodcast.com. This is another international case with very little resources available. We did our best to translate with professional native speakers, but of course, if there's anything mistranslated, miscommunicated, or any additional information, please let us know.
What the fuck are you talking about? Bro, I'm talking about stuff that's happened like
today's case also mentions some mental health conditions, the compulsive eating of non-food items, physical assault, and a brief mention of SA. So with that being said, oh, I do actually have another disclaimer. Listen, I have a very strong appreciation for religion and cultural traditions. I think it's one of the more beautiful aspects of life and just the human experience in general. But I'm personally not a firm believer of anything when it pertains to religion or spiritual journeys. So anything said in this episode is not to push some sort of narrative or belief onto anybody. I truly have no skin in the game. I just am very intrigued by a lot of different cultures and religions. There is information included that I find to be enlightening and pertinent to the case itself, and also just fascinating that I wanted to share with you, but I am not trying to get anyone to believe one thing or another or anything at all. Also, another side note, many of the gods mentioned in today's episode.
Yeah, I remember looking into it. Yeah, no, it's terrifying.
It's the deities.
I don't think he's like done anything recently, but like I think the most recent thing was like, I think like 5 to 7 years ago, he showed up at my mom's parents' house again.
They have very complicated backgrounds on how they came to be, and obviously there's different interpretations and beliefs for each one, but I do want to mention that it does seem that at least a few of them are based off of Hindu gods. So this is, again, not me trying to erase that link or not give credit where credit is due, but I think to deep dive into the origins of each god would take a lot of care and expertise, and I'm mainly trying to include the parts that would be relevant to the actual case. So if you guys actually know more about each deity, please let me know in the comments. I would love to learn more from you guys, because the internet is a tricky place where everybody disagrees a lot. So with that being said, let's get into it. April 11th, 2005. It's a very normal Monday afternoon, and Mr. A, well, let's call him Mr. A, is at home watching TV, and he hears this knock at his door. Mr. A is one of the few neighbors that are still around. All the other neighbors had, interestingly, packed a little bag and moved out into hotels, leaving most of their stuff behind, still paying rent.
What?
It's very odd. Mr. A gets up and he walks to the door, looks through the tiny little peephole, and he sees his neighbor, a middle-aged man, Mr. Wu, just standing there looking very anxious. Mr. Wu, what's wrong? How can I help you? Mr. Wu leans in closer to the door. Call an ambulance. What? Mr. A fumbles with his locks, and by the time he opens the door, Mr. Wu is gone. He looks to the right, he looks to the left. No Mr. Wu. He didn't even know middle-aged men could move that fast. That's wild. So he grabs his phone, puts on his...
Bro said, I didn't expect his decrepit bones to be so mobile. Yo, his arthritis, he kind of powered through that. He tanked that
jacket and his shoes, and he starts making his way over to Mr. Wu's house, which is at the top of a neighboring building. It's a 3-story building, and Mr. Wu is at the top. That's his residence, 3rd floor. So he's running up the stairs. He approaches the door. He doesn't see Mr. Wu anywhere. He's nowhere to be seen. He presses on the handle of Mr. Wu's front door. The door creaks open, and a fly comes flying out at him. So strange. He walks inside, And once he sees why an ambulance needs to be called, Mr. A runs back out of the house. He's dry heaving on the pavement and immediately calls the police. When the police arrive...
Dry heaving? Nah, he had to see some crazy shit. You don't just dry heave, you know, you see a little bit of blood, like, nah.
At the scene, they want to know what the problem is with the Wu family. I mean, arguably, they seem very incredibly normal, if not very mundane. The Wu parents have 4 children. The eldest daughter works in Taipei. The second daughter is a nurse. The third daughter goes to college. The son, the baby of the family, works at a local printing house. They're all adults. The kids are in their 20s at this point. It's a very normal family. Until the police talk to the neighbors. They are not normal. What do you mean by that? Neighbors have been reporting hearing very strange noises coming from inside the house all night long. This loud, sometimes it's like a banging noise. Sometimes you don't know what the source of the sound is. Sometimes you do know. And then sometimes it's just the most obnoxious gong going off all night long.
They're trying to cleanse
the
spirit or something. Which is
definitely frustrating for neighbors to deal with, the constant ruckus from the upstairs residents. But the neighbors aren't even annoyed. They're not even pissed off.
Dry heaving is like when you throw up,
scared.
but you don't have any stomach acid left to throw up. So you're just throwing up nothing. 9 times out of 10, it's when you like either already gagged everything up. Most of the time.
Something about the noises is different, okay? Sometimes the family of 6 would sit there just splashing water on each other in silence. Splashing cold water all over each other, shivering. But they say they're hot. It's weird. Sometimes the neighbors would wake up in the middle of the night to hearing someone screaming. Other times to chanting. They look up at the house and, yeah, the police are like, that's not a normal place. They look at the signs posted on the windows into the house. There's a red 8 trigram symbol posted onto the window. The 8 trigrams are ancient symbols used.
Yo, only thing I know about 8 trigrams or whatever is from Naruto. You know, he said like 8 trigrams palm, you know, 64 trigrams. So he was like doing multiples of 8 or whatever. You know, 24, 60, you know what I'm saying?
In Taoist philosophy that represent the 8 principles of feng shui. Feng shui being harmony of individuals and their environment. At its core, feng shui is about creating balance and flow in your living area, right? So the 8 principles of having good feng shui balance, oversimplified, are heaven, earth, thunder, water, mountain, wind, fire, lake, which symbolizes joy and pleasure. So they all mean something. And when you put that symbol of the 8 trigrams on the window, it typically means that whoever lives in this home is seeking protection. They likely want to ward off negative energy and spirits, which is not too crazy of a thing to want. I feel like we all want that. They see that red 8 trigrams taped to the window, which itself is very normal, standard even, but it's everything else that makes the house feel so strange. On the balcony of the house, there are these black clothes that are sticking out of the windows like flags. It does not appear that the clothes are being hanging to dry. They're hanging on sticks, just floating in the air like flags, or like ghosts wearing black clothes and hanging out of the window, whichever one you want to envision. When you step foot into the house, you hear this crunching noise, and you look down and the entire floor is covered like a beach, but instead of sand, it's covered with salt and rice grains. The whole floor.
I've heard stuff about salt and rice grains or something with like warding off spirits or something before.
They can hear flies buzzing around the house. They walk further in, and on the dining table, they find a whole table setting laid out. Plates, bowls. The bowls are filled with fulu, a talismanic paper soaked in water. And the plates are smeared with the main dish, the main course. Feces. Poop. The flies are just circulating.
Huh? Dookie? They eating dookie. If they eating dookie, there's no way like the ambulance would have saved you. Like you poison yourself. Well, whose poop is it? Whose poop is it? Or maybe they're using it for the flies, but then whose poop is it?
Over the table, but that's not the only source of the smell. Feces has been thrown at the walls, covering the walls, sliding off the walls. Not a single window was left open to let in some fresh air. Not a
why he was driving? Because it smelled so bad?
Not only that, but the windows are covered in these yellowish papers taped to the windows, resulting in this severe lack of sunlight coming in, which means feces are hanging off the walls. The air is thick from the smell, not a single hint of a breeze, just still air sitting, marinating in the
Nah, you're just like literally poisoning yourself at that point. Like you're literally just poisoning yourself.
poop stench, and no sunlight to try and balance things out. It's dark, dingy, grimy, and the smell of feces is overwhelming. In one of the bedrooms, there's a 28-year-old woman lying motionless on the floor. Her limbs are stiff and she does not appear to be breathing. She has no pulse. They rush her to the hospital, but it is no luck. She has been dead for 2 days before the police found her body. The hospital starts an autopsy on the woman, and her whole body looks incredible.
Where the hell did Mr. Wu? And my thing is, why would Mr. Okay, listen, if Mr. Wu killed someone, why would he go tell his neighbor? For one, okay. For two, I have so many questions. All I'm saying is this sounds like some severe mental disorder. Like this is not like no religious teaching incorporates all of that. That is crazy.
Incredibly pale. There's these massive wounds all over her body, giant bruises, fist-sized, up and down her body. But more puzzling than that are these tiny circular uniform burn marks, similar to cigarette butt burns, but not really. It's much smaller. It's about the size of like an ink dot. So if you were to take the tip of a Sharpie and just hold it onto your skin, it's kind of that size. What could even cause burns that size that are that consistent and uniform all over her body?
Could you like use like an incense stick and do that on someone? That's my theory, at least. Like one of those, like,
Believe it or not, there's another medical mystery that the doctors cannot even wrap their minds around.
Acupuncture? No, acupuncture. I thought that initially too, but acupuncture is very thin needles, and they said burn marks, and you wouldn't even see the wound 9 times out of 10 after you pull it out if it's done correctly. I've gotten acupuncture many times before.
Shoved into the woman's nostrils, mouth, in her esophagus.
What? Whoa.
Believe it or not, there's another medical mystery that the doctors cannot even wrap their minds around. Shoved into the woman's nostrils, mouth, in her esophagus, and smeared all over her skin is a mixture of urine and feces.
So she died of poisoning. Like that would kill you. That would kill you.
Furthermore, her entire stomach, the only thing in there is no food, nothing but just semi-digested feces. The sheer volume of feces would indicate it was most likely human feces.
So they actually are eating. I thought it was for the flies. I thought it was for the flies. See, this is, you know what I'm saying? People that like, listen, I know there's some kinky people in the world, okay? But if you into this sick ass seek out. Okay, listen, I don't, listen, people that like say don't kink shame, I don't believe in that, okay? If your kink is doing harm to you, like eating poop, no. Seek assistance, quality assurance. You know what I'm saying? Go to your nearest practitioner, okay?
So why, how, I mean, who did this to her? The police are able to confirm that the deceased woman is the eldest daughter of the Wu family, the residence that she was found in, which means the people most likely to have answers to what happened to her are her family members. But there is no trace of the rest of the Wu family. After Mr. Wu knocked on his neighbor's door, he vanished along with his wife and his 2 daughters and his 1 son. All 5 of them are gone. They hadn't taken any belongings, nothing. They just disappeared into thin air from this house. And there are just some places that you just do not go. In the movie Incantation, the place that you're not supposed to go is inside this tunnel in this remote village temple. But because the main character, Ronan, the mom, and her boyfriend at the time, they run a YouTube channel where they go ghost hunting, they weighed out the options and they thought, go into the tunnel to get great views or not go into the tunnel. They go into the tunnel.
I ain't going into the, listen, I'm desperate, but I ain't that desperate. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be cursed the rest of my life.
Ronan's boyfriend and his cousin decide, we're just gonna get the good footage, despite being warned by the locals multiple times never to step foot in here. We're just gonna go and get the footage, and that's how they get cursed, and Ronan's boyfriend and cousin ultimately die. Ronan ends up giving birth to a daughter that she didn't even know she was pregnant with at the time. She has to give up custody to her daughter for 6 years because of how mentally messed up she is from everything that has happened inside that tunnel. Because again, there are just some places that you just should not go. In the real life case of Incantation,
no, I agree,
the
bro.
Wu family,
like, you know how everyone that went into and uncovered King Tutankhamun's like whatever tomb, like they all died. All of them in really weird ways. Everyone that uncovered like King Tut's artifact, like all died in weird ways. I'm just saying. I'm good.
they travel to the
I ain't messing with
Five-Finger
nothing like
Mountain.
that.
It's called the Five-Finger Mountain.
Unironically, they died. Yes, they all died in very weird ways. Like it was like really stupid stuff. Like you electrocuted yourself while washing your hands, or something. Like it was like crazy stuff, or you just randomly got hit by a car. It was all like deaths that were like not of natural causes or even disease. It was just like random stuff.
The peak of the mountain has 5 prominent peaks. It looks like the ridges of the fingers of a hand. It's a natural landmark, but some people don't think it's the safest. Not just in terms of physical safety, but spiritually. I mean, in many folklore,
Did one get bit by a mosquito? Yeah, apparently one died by a mosquito too.
Are considered sacred places that are inhabited by supernatural entities.
That's the most normal one, I think.
You can go there to get guidance from the good supernatural entities, but when there are entities, one might believe there must be good and bad. You can't just cherry pick. According to many folklore, those who died unjustly or have unfinished business, they typically dwell in the mountains, waiting for their chance to get revenge. They may want to trap the living just due to how angry they are. And it's said that the path on the middle finger of the Five-Finger Mountain has the most negative energy. Many people experience,
of course, it's the middle finger,
and have reported feeling stuck. Physically, like they feel like they can move, but their legs won't move. They feel exhausted all of a sudden, drained, but not just, I'm a hiker, I'm tired. It's weird. It's unexplainable. They hear voices. They have all these unexplainable supernatural encounters on the third finger. But like I said, when there is good, there's also bad. So it works in the opposite way. Meaning some people believe, no, if you go to the Five-Finger Mountain and you meditate, you're going to get amazing guidance to spiritual problems that you may be having. So the 3 Wu sisters are sent to
the most crazy thing I was offered spiritually was to do DMT in some random church location, and like there was some legal loophole to do it. And low-key, my dad was on board, and I was like, this is crazy, I can't. I was like, no. I'm good. They were like, it might fix everything. I was like, I'm good. There was some soldier that had like PTSD or something talking to me about it, and I was like, bruh. I was like, I'm good, bro. Like, I was like, I'm good. Like, I'm really good. Because he had been through a lot of rough stuff, and I had been through a lot of rough stuff, so I got coffee with him. I got coffee with this guy, right? I literally got coffee with him. And like, we were talking about some deep stuff, and like, he went through a lot of stuff that I happen to go through too, which is kind of ironic considering we had very different life trajectories. And so he was talking to me, he was saying like, yeah, it really helped, and I was kind of like, I have his number. He said, if you ever need help, call me. I haven't spoken to him since. That was like 2 years ago. But part of me is like, maybe I should have done it. Because there's laws in the US that protect religion. So if something like that, that's like illegal, that's like a drug or something is like religious, like you can do it or something like that. There's some legal thing. I don't know. Low-key, it kind of seemed like a cult, like a little bit. And I was a little bit like, my dad was really like, I think this is good for you. You know, I talked to him. Like, I was like, okay. I don't know if my dad like met him at a bar or what it was and was like, you need to meet my son. And then I met him. But yeah, he seemed really nice. And the guy, when he was talking to my dad initially, wasn't like trying to recruit people or wasn't like, do you have a kid? My dad was like, spoke to him randomly one night. It was like, hey, I want you to meet my son. And then set up for us to meet. But I was kind of like, I don't know. It just seemed a little bit, I don't know. I was just too scared. I just didn't want to do it. I'm like, I'm good.
The mountain for a month to meditate. This is the real life family. 3 of the sisters, so they have 3 daughters and 1 son. The 3 daughters are sent to the Five-Finger Mountain for an entire month to meditate at a local temple.
Oh, so this is before the sister was dead.
Yes. They need to use the power of meditation to drive out the demon inside of the eldest sister, the one that ends up dead. It's going to take at least a month. They're going to stay at the temple, and they are not to come back home until they are cleansed. I mean, it's not like the sisters really wanted to do this, but they don't really have a choice. Their lives were incredibly normal until it wasn't normal, and it all starts February 2005. It starts with the Wu family's...
So was the eldest sister at the mountain when they were cleansing? So wait, did they go to the mountain before or after they killed the person? This was before, right?
So the 3 Wu sisters are sent to the mountain for a month to meditate. This is the real life family. 3 of the sisters, so they have 3 daughters and 1 son. The 3 daughters are sent to the Five Finger Mountain for an entire month to meditate at a local temple.
Oh, so this is before the sister was dead.
Yes. They need to use the power of meditation to drive out the demon inside of the eldest sister.
Okay, am I the only person who like wonders if like the stuff her husband says to her in this video is like pre-planned, or if like he genuinely, if she's just like, can you just sit here with me in case something doesn't make sense and ask me questions? I've always wondered, like, is it a pre-planned thing that he interjects to make it seem like it's more natural, or like does she just like, yo, while I record this, since it's going to be like a 3-hour recording session, sit in front of me, and if something is confusing, ask the question that you think a viewer would have. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the second option is more viable if you want to save time as a content creator. I'm not going to lie. Because like Loki's son, he be asking the questions, I think. Like half the time he'll ask the question that I had in my head, and I'm like, am I stupid? Like, am I not understanding? And then he'll ask it, and I'm like, oh my God, thank God you're here.
The one that ends up dead. It's going to take at least a month. They're going to stay at the temple, and they are not to come back home until they are cleansed. I mean, it's not like the sisters really wanted to do this, but they don't really have a choice. Their lives were incredibly normal until it wasn't normal.
Okay, thanks for the prime.
And it all starts February 2005.
He's always confused. Why y'all hating like he doesn't answer the questions you have, chat? Don't act like he doesn't answer the questions you have. Shout out to him, honestly. He does some heavy lifting, okay, with this channel, okay? Because half the time I'm confused and he answers the questions by asking the questions for me.
Eldest daughter.
Because I can't speak to
oldest.
Stephanie,
she's the one that passes away. And she's the only child that no longer fully lives with the entire family. So the youngest daughter, she's in college. She lives in the dorms, but she comes home every single break. The eldest daughter, she's actually moved out completely to Taipei. Mm-hmm. She's managing this convenience store with her boyfriend. So let's just call them sister A, B, C, and son.
Okay.
Okay. She gets a call from her mom. What's going on? Hello? And the mom tells her, I'm very worried. I'm very concerned. I know that things have been happening over there with you. What do you mean? Sister A is confused. She's trying to figure out why her mom is freaking out, why she's saying, I know something's happened. Nothing has happened. I mean, absolutely nothing has happened. If something had happened, she would have called her right away. But her mom is just frantic. She's dead set that something weird is going to happen, or it's already happening and you just don't feel it. You just don't realize it. Sister.
Schizophrenia. Sparkle emoji. Like, that's the only explanation, bro. Because there's an extreme paranoia aspect.
And she hangs up the phone thinking, okay, that was a little bit strange, but I think she's okay now. A few hours later, the door to the convenience store opens, and it's her mom. The car ride to get from where her parents live on the...
Like, dog, no. See, I told you. This has to act... No, I actually feel like this is a case of schizophrenia. Like, I'm not even trying to, like, stereotype. But, like, I actually think, like, genuinely... That might be the
south side of Taiwan to Taipei is a 4-hour-long drive. You just don't drop in and say hello. Her mom never does this. This is the type of visit that requires a lot of planning. You take the weekend off, you come to visit.
Wait, I'm so dumb. I didn't know like Taiwan was technically an island. Yo, I really thought it was attached. Yo, I had no idea.
You have an idea?
I had no idea, bro. I'm dumb as hell.
So what the hell is mom doing here?
I really thought it was just like, right, you know? I don't know.
Mrs. Wu tells her daughter, you need to come back to the family home immediately or else very bad things are going to happen to you. Listen, she must have a lot of faith in her mom because she grabs her things and just instantly leaves Taipei. She drops everything. She leaves work mid-shift to go with her mom. Interestingly enough, when she gets home, the energy in the family residence is quite happy. Everybody's happy. I mean, it's been a minute since all of them were gathered, since everybody's busy with work and school. Mr. Wu even cooked up this massive, delicious food table for the kids. And then during dinner, they start discussing what's been going on. And the Wu family, like I said, consists of 3 daughters and 1 son. The whole situation started when Sister C comes home from college for winter break, because it's February of 2005. She's normally someone who sleeps well every single night. But ever since she got back to the family home for winter break, she's been having nightmares every single night. And it's always about the 3rd prince. The 3rd prince? Nija? Yes, the 3rd prince, according to mythology, he was born after spending 3 years and 6 months in his mother's womb. His mom was so sick of him in her stomach that she would get frustrated and, quote, pound her stomach in anger for such an extraordinary long pregnancy. And to make matters worse, when she finally gives birth to him, instead of a baby, a giant ball of flesh rolls out of her body. And her husband, the 3rd prince's dad, witnesses all of this and is convinced that his wife just gave birth to a demon that needs to be extinguished. He grabs his sword, attacks the ball of flesh. It opens up and out comes a fully formed boy, the 3rd prince, that can talk immediately out of the womb. Now you may be thinking, that's a pretty tough dad and son relationship to mend after your dad is adamant that you're a demon the second that you come into this world. But despite that, the 3rd prince has a strong dedication to his family. The prince and his dad are known to fight all the time, but ultimately it seems...
Wait, am I... That sounds crazy. Low-key. If they're already competent when they pop out the womb, that's even better. You're not a demon to me. You an angel, okay? You know how to speak. You know how to like function. I don't have to worry about you like trying to, lick a wall outlet and die. Like that would be great. Minus like the 3 years in the womb. Like the rest of that sounds kind of lit. I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't have to worry about you like sticking scissors in outlets and stuff. Like you could eat without choking. Like I mean, hey, that sounds like a blessing to me.
Seems like the 3rd prince has a strong sense of filial piety. I mean, he is, at the end of the day, one to protect his family.
We using big words.
Which is why he is typically worshipped for protection of children and families and sometimes ensuring safe travels. The 3rd prince deity is typically known as the patron god of children. In terms of worshipping deities, the 3rd prince is not an intense one to worship, if that makes sense. It's just... some deities are more fickle, some are more secretive than others, but the 3rd prince, he sounds kind of chill. I mean, generally he prefers offerings, fruits, meats, nice. Duck meat he doesn't like because it's considered sacred to him, so you have to be very careful. He's also a teenage deity, so he really likes candies. And if you really want protection from the 3rd prince, to just have a small statue of him is usually a good way to get it. He's a guardian deity, though. Keep this in mind. He's very protective. He's a protection god. Now, Sister C comes home from winter break, and every single night she's back in the family home. She's plagued with these nightmares, and she can't sleep now.
Wait, but how are they about the protection deity? Wouldn't is she getting saved by the deity in the nightmares, or is she having nightmares like about him hurting them? Like that, you know what I'm saying? Like I need some specifics.
Because she's terrified of her own dreams, the 3rd prince is somehow popping up in her dreams, which makes it feel like somebody needs protection around here. She has these migraines throughout the day that make her drop to the floor with how intense it is. She's never had these before. She's supposed to be resting before school starts, so what is happening? Her parents suggest her to go to the temple. That's going to help get her soul back. Now, to give you some context, and again, a quick disclaimer, not everybody in Taiwan believes one thing or the other. Like same with America, everybody has their own beliefs. And then you have people who are very extreme in their beliefs. And then some people who are a little bit more casual with it. I will say the Wu family is as extreme as it gets. They're very extreme with their beliefs. You're not going to see the extremity of their beliefs right now, but you'll see it escalate. So keep that in mind. They're like, you need to go to the temple and get your soul back. Some people believe that the soul can leave the body because of many different circumstances. We've kind of talked about this before with the microwave case. Remember?
Okay, yes.
Yes. The soul leaves the body when there is some sort of trauma or shock, near-death experience, intense fear or pain.
Yo, my soul been absent for a minute. Yo, I need to go on. Where's Waldo with that mother? I swear. Where he at? I don't know where he at. Donde está?
spiritual attack, sleep or dreaming. Sometimes souls will wander out of your body during sleep, and then when you wake up, your soul can't get in and your soul is lost. They say that you can typically tell when someone's soul has left their body. They suddenly have a very hard time recalling specific events. They might have memory loss, or they suddenly have weakened immune systems, and they just feel this emotional numbness. They look like they're zoning out all the time.
I have all this minus
it looks like they're missing a part of themselves.
Minus the memory
because
thing.
Their soul is missing. That is what the Wu parents believe is happening to Sister C. They encourage her, go to the local temple. They can perform this soul calling ritual to bring your soul back home, back into your body. You gotta go. Sister C goes to the temple to get her soul back, which it does seem to work, but she ends up getting a lot more than what she asks for. She states to her family that suddenly, out of nowhere, the third prince showed up again, and this time he had a divine message for her. He tells her that Sister A, the eldest sibling, has to come home immediately or else her life is in grave danger. She's the one working alone in Taipei. The family take this information incredibly seriously. If the third prince is saying that, that means he would only be saying that to protect the children of the family. He's a guardian deity after all, which means something might happen to the children. Even if the third prince didn't say anything to Sister C in the dream, the third prince even showing up in one's visions or dreams or sights typically symbolizes that the dreamer or someone close to the dreamer is in need of protection. Because the third prince, like I said, is almost synonymous with protection. This means something. The next day, after the third prince shows up in Sister C's dreams, the mom goes all the way to Taipei and gets her eldest daughter.
Going 4 hours, like the next day, like with no, like, just randomly is crazy.
Brings her back home.
I ain't gonna lie, that's insane work. I won't even lie, bro. Shout out to Grammarly. Appreciate y'all supporting the podcast.
.com/podcast. That night, Sister A, she's being told all of this over dinner. She thinks it's strange, but she tries not to think too much into it. She goes to rest, and she comes all the way from Taipei, lays down in bed. She doesn't feel like the energy.
I think oldest
is that
daughter
strange.
was the victim because normal mean evil for them. No, I'm not gonna lie, like, I think that, and I also think, I really think, okay, you know what, the mom having schizophrenia, I'm starting to think is less the case because of daughter C having this vision, but I also think, like, it still might be the case, to be honest. I think the thing is, if you're raised with a parent with schizophrenia and you don't have anyone else around you that's like a parental figure that's like isn't suffering from the mental illness, you're going to be raised under like the presumption that these are logical thoughts. So like her daughter might grow up and have lived her whole life thinking her mom was completely normal. So anything like crazy that she experiences or any like subtle feeling, she'll think is this crazy thing too. It's almost like the delusion is like contagious in a way, but it's not like actually contagious. But it's like if you're being taught from a young age that this is reality and it's so wrong, you're just going to think it's correct until you've been around alone enough or been around enough other people to realize it's wrong.
I mean, she's home. She's so familiar with this place. This is where she grew up with everybody that she trusts more than anything. And she drifts into
again,
sleep.
I'm still pontificating. I don't actually know if that's the case.
She's awake, drenched in sweat, gasping for air. Her mom slams open the door. She's been screaming all night. She runs in. What's wrong? What's wrong? Tell me what's wrong. Sister A tells her mom that everything little sister said is coming true. There's this nightmare that she just had where she was essayed by a strange man and then ended up killing him, and there was so much blood and everything bad is happening. Her mom drags her out of bed and both of them kneel at the family's at-home altar to start praying. But the next night, it happens again. Another nightmare. Now the eldest sister can't even go to sleep without feeling this intense fear. She won't even sleep during the night. She dozes off here and there during the day. But that's about it. Like, think of it as naps. She hasn't gotten a good night's rest since she got home. Whenever there's a loud noise, she starts freaking out. If someone is talking in a pitch higher than an inside standard voice, she freaks out. Eventually, the eldest daughter, likely out of serious sleep deprivation and feeling mental torment, she starts slapping herself. She starts like slapping her own legs, slapping her arms, and the Wus are really alarmed by this. They drag her to the temple where the youngest had gotten her soul back. And the parents tell the ones that run the temple, they think they know why this is happening right now. We understand why. Okay, so the family thinks the reasoning of all of this is because they moved the third prince statue in their house. So way before he showed up in Sister C's dreams, the third prince had his own altar at the Wu family house. They worshipped the third prince. But a while back, they had gone to a different temple, and with some guidance, one of the mediums there told the Wu family that their family situation seems unclean. He was very ominous about it. He didn't give them much more information. So the Wu parents, being firm believers, they start getting paranoid. They ask him to come to their house to exorcise the evil spirits that's making the residents unclean. And while they're exorcising the place, they move the statue.
Hold on, made unclean the you smeared on the walls, sir.
Move the altar of the third prince to a new location inside the house, but maybe they shouldn't have done that. Maybe that messed with the protection of the house somehow and made it so that another entity could enter, like a non-protective entity could enter their home. At the temple, the eldest sister was able to be cleansed by the spiritual mediums, and when she comes back home, things are normal again. In fact, after a few days, she's had zero nightmares, zero like slapping herself on the legs. She's like, maybe I should go back home to Taipei. I mean, we avoided this looming tragedy. Likely it was nothing. We just needed to move the statue back. I should just go home and resume life as normal. That's the best case scenario, yes? As the eldest daughter is spending the last few days with her family, she gets this phone call. It's like a rather brief phone call. Nobody can really even make out who she's
have 7 days.
talking to or what she's saying. But by the time she hangs up the phone, she is no longer their daughter. She is no longer Sister A. She turns around and states to the entire Wu family that she is the goddess of mercy.
Wait.
Does the whole family have schizophrenia? What the hell? Listen. Another common thing of like psychosis or like delusions is this is very common. People think they're gods. No, like actually, like it's a very common thing. Like people will claim that they are God or God is like speaking through them or like they're God. Like I don't know what it is about that, but people claiming that they're gods is like a very common thing. I don't know why. I wonder, like, this is like me being interesting in the psychology of it. I wonder if we as humans never were given the conception of what a god was, if what we would say if we had the same mental condition. Like, if gods weren't something we were taught, like, what would we say as a replacement for saying you're a god? Because it's a very common thing. Like, it's one of the most common things when this happens. It's like one of the telltale signs that, like, something is very wrong, like, mentally with someone if they're suddenly claiming they're a god and, like, acting very different.
She hung up the phone and
Yeah.
she says she's a goddess?
That would terrify me.
To
if I
give
saw
you some
that.
context,
Especially
this is
if,
good
like,
and
you know, in movies when people get possessed, like their demeanor, like the way their facial muscles rest is different. Like if it was like that, oh my god.
bad news depending on your own beliefs. If you do not believe in deities being able to possess humans, this is very bad news. If you do believe it, like the Wu family
Like if
does,
there was no concept of gods. Yeah, I wonder what people would say in that situation. Now, I personally don't believe that, you know, gods can possess people. That's just me. But if you do believe that, sure. But I do know, like, aside from that, in like studied Western medicine, in some mental disorders will lead people to say they think they are a god, regardless of your religious belief. Like you'll just think you're a god. It happens across the board.
then this might be the best deity to be possessed by. The goddess of mercy is often described as the kindest of all deities. She is the mother of compassion and mercy. She's believed to have unconditional love and compassion for all beings, even humans. She's not fickle, where, you know, fickle deities might want more in return or set you up in some aspect. She's not like that. She's known to work tirelessly to save all beings from suffering. So if the goddess of mercy has taken their daughter's body, that means there is a divine message there for them. The Wu parents think, wait, Maybe all of this going on is because our daughter is a spiritual medium, and this is the way we find out. A vessel is the spiritual medium between the deities and the humans, the so-called translators between the gods and the mortals. So when mortals, like humans, have questions, they have nowhere to seek answers. They may approach a spiritual medium and request that they ask the deities for the answer. Being a spiritual medium is typically, from my understanding, a job that calls you. You don't call the job. The job chooses you. People will naturally find themselves being able to connect with spirits, and with further guidance or training of sorts, they can be full-fledged spiritual mediums. It's not an easy job. One medium describes it as, the first time, your body feels very warm, really hot. The energy is starting to come to your body, starting to surround you, so you feel very, very warm. Within the first 5-10 minutes, the energy starts slowly coming, and within that time, you'll know the energy belongs to which deity and what they are here for and what purpose. During the possession, you won't know what's happening until you wake up. Then you'll feel very tired afterwards. It's a lifetime commitment being a medium. It's very exhausting.
That sounds exhausting, yeah.
Which, side note, there's
you also
actually
have
a
to
lot
hear
of harm
people's like really bad sob stories and stuff and like take it like...
when it comes to being a spiritual medium. One of the key components is, for I'm sure many reasons, spiritual mediums will feel the need to harm themselves. So while they're being the vessel for the deity, a lot of the times they'll write these talismanic papers. So these charms on a piece of paper that you take for protection.
Yes.
And they will use the blood from their tongue. So a lot of the times they'll cut their tongue and use the blood to write, but they don't feel pain when they're in this state, they say. They'll even pin flags to their skin. So you know those wooden skewers that you grill things on? I don't know if it's those that are used precisely, but that's about how thick they are. Some of the spiritual mediums will pin flags onto their back. They will pinch a piece of their lower back skin, stab the skewer into their flesh, and have it standing upright so that the flag is near their necks. And they'll pin like 5 of them. So they have 5 flags pinned into their backs.
See, I've seen that visual, but I didn't know they stab into themselves.
Yes, and then they will stab skewers through their mouth, like metal bars through their mouth. Whoa. It's said that that's kind of proving to the mortals that they are a vessel, because it's very difficult to do that. It's said that spiritual mediums don't
those like body mod people? Like, this is body mod meets religion. Holy.
feel any pain when they're possessed by gods or spirits. And for that same reason, they tend to heal quickly and without infection. So it's a lot. Some spiritual mediums will stab their stomachs with sewing needles when they're in a trance. They'll even pierce a full metal needle through one cheek to the other, like I said. I mean, some of them have whips with needles, and in their trances, they will begin whipping themselves. One spiritual medium says, I
don't even know if I can classify that as schizophrenia, because the thing is, like, with that, it's like if everyone's doing the same thing and it's so normalized there, I don't know. That's interesting.
believe it's a way the deities protect the medium by helping them not feel pain during the rituals. It's also a way that the deities show their powers to us humans. The Wu family thought for a moment, maybe this is what's happening to Sister A, their eldest, because she's banging her head up against the walls, the tables. She's using her nails to dig into her face, scratching her skin off. Her whole body looks like it's being covered in bruises now. It's like she has this crazy superhuman strength, and in order to even get her to stop, they have to tie her down with ropes, just running a rope around her until she can't even move an inch.
Wait, so she's saying that she has been possessed
by the goddess of mercy,
and she is
Yeah, the goddess of mercy ain't really showing you much mercy, putting you through all that.
harming herself.
Yes. The parents look at each other because at first they thought maybe our daughter is a spiritual medium, but this is not the goddess of mercy inside their little girl. This feels like something else. This feels like a demon. Sister A's eyes look different. I mean, they say that she starts laughing, but having these eerie bursts of laughter that sound very maniacal, and she starts dancing around her siblings, almost like...
I still think this is... Y'all gonna hate me for this. I still think this is might be schizophrenia. You know, I'm just saying.
She's taunting them. I am the goddess of mercy, here to quell...
I think this is just too extreme to be like a normal medium in their culture, because from what I'm getting, mediums in their culture harm themselves in specific ways only, and they don't deviate from that. She is deviating from that like crazy. Especially later when we find out she like ate feces.
All the chaos and eliminate adversity for you. That night, the 6 of them are back on their knees in front of their ancestral tablets, their altars, praying. Another sleepless night, trying to figure out what is going on. This is when they decide, this is no ordinary possession, which means they cannot have an ordinary solution. They must go to the 5-Finger Mountain and get rid of the evil spirits for a singular month. So while the 3 sisters are gone, the Wu parents and the youngest son are left at home, alone. They decide, we need to cleanse this place before the sisters come back, because if they come back and the demons are still in this house, what is the point of them being gone for a month? According to masters of spirits, they say someone's front door can tell you a lot about what's going on inside that home. The front door is a very important boundary between the outside world and the safety of the home. It's the critical line between the 2 realms, the outside world and the inner sanctuary. It's a physical entrance, but it also has an energy border, if you will. Now, this is not an attempt to be dramatic about a literal front door. Historically,
not low-key though. They cooked whoever came up with that, like, conceptually, because they're so right. Like, if I'm standing outside of my front door at night for an hour, I feel uneasy. If I'm standing inside by it, I'm chilling.
There are households that would perform sacrificial rituals to door spirits. That's what they're called, to make sure that their doors are properly managed and well protected. There's door deities that are supposed to help guard against evil influences, but they can't be so stubborn and not letting anything into your front door, because then you're not going to get wealth and good fortune either. So it's a very tricky balance. You don't want to piss off the door deities.
Yeah, in China, you will see like they put almost like a painting, stick up one on each door. So there are 2 of them to help you guard the doors.
Yes.
You know?
So people will do rituals for them. And like rituals, I'm not talking weird rituals. Like they'll just offer fruits and stuff. Now, right upon entering the Wu family house, the master that they've invited to cleanse the entire residence sees a fox spirit standing guard at the door. That's what he says. Now, seeing any sort of spirit at anybody's front door is a very worrisome sign, let alone a fox. He said a fox spirit typically is a symbol of chaos. Foxes are sly. They're mischievous little creatures. They like to get into all the little naughty things. There are some that believe foxes can predict disasters. They can tell when there's impending doom coming. So to see one at the front door, that's not a good look. But that's not even the main problem with foxes. Foxes are known to feed off of human vitality. In Taiwanese folklore, there's a tale of a village where young men kept falling mysteriously ill. Nobody knew what the problem was. They all ate different things. They're all drinking water from different streams. There's no reason for all of them to be sick. Is it the air? And the women were surprisingly fine. It was later discovered that a family of female fox spirits had taken residence nearby, and the female foxes were seducing and draining the men's vitality.
It was like land sirens.
Foxes may be here to cause chaos, or to symbolize impending doom, or to slowly suck the life out of the residents of the house. Not always, but that's how the master interprets this fox. Now, if it was just the fox standing at the front door, maybe the family would have been fine. But the master tells them, this is a house full of fierce demons. If you live here for too long, you will definitely be eaten up. You will be possessed. There's no way around it. As he's told to go further into the house, he keeps shaking his head no and starts walking out of the house. The master just tries to leave. Like he U-turns after a few steps into the Wu residence.
I'm moving.
Wu, the mom, is not having it.
She
paid a pretty penny for this man to come into her home. He's going to tell her what's wrong, and he's going to fix it. Feng Shui, at its core, like I said, is making sure your home feels harmonious. It really depends on how deeply someone wants to take it. Some just take it purely as usage and design purposes. Yes, using a too large coffee table with sharp corners that you bang your leg against could be bad Feng Shui, but it's also just like a really bad design element. Or others take it a bit more seriously. Certain plants, certain placement of furniture beyond design elements either bring positive or negative energy into the home. You don't want too much pieces of furniture with sharp corners, sharp edges, because it's a different type of energy that you're welcoming in. For example, some common feng shui tips: don't keep broken items around in your home. Either fix it or get rid of it. Broken items carry broken, disrupted, chaotic energy. Don't keep the toilet lid open when you're not using it. Open toilets are thought to drain wealth and positive energy. Avoid mirrors directly facing the bed. It's said that not only does it disturb sleep, it potentially invites a third party into your marriage.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. these purposes or whatever, like low key, if you apply them practically, makes sense. Because even if you don't believe in like the exact teaching, having a mirror by your bed is gonna make you uneasy most of the time, bro. You're gonna get up and see your reflection at night and get scared, okay? Like having broken stuff around you, there's been studies that like having broken things affects your mental health, or like having messy rooms, or it's like, you know, so I mean, if you don't believe in it exactly, like practically, there's still some like, a lot of like Eastern philosophies have they're weirdly accurate in the way that like scientifically after they've been studied, like that they actually do work. They normally don't work for the exact way it's explained, but like there's normally still some benefit to it.
Or place your desk in a position.
Like there's still a benefit to it, but it's not like exactly how it was explained in its original conception.
It faces the office door, but it's not directly in line with it. If you're directly in line with it, any and all energy coming into the office, you will impact your work with. But you want to be able to see the door without being directly in line with the door, because you want to see the opportunities that are coming your way. You need a clear line of sight. But you could take it even a step further. And the belief is that feng shui can impact the kind of spirits that come into your home. The house they live in is positioned in a way where the sun does not come in. It's very dark, it's lightless. It has an irregular shape, which gives it extremely poor feng shui right off the bat. It's a house that basically invites the ghosts in. But worse than that, there is a road that goes up to the front of their home. They are at what's called a T-junction. They sit on a road, but there's also another road pointing directly towards them. A home that sits on a T-junction, the master states, is very, very bad, because the energy is all directed to the house, and the rushing energy can be very harmful. It can bring in quite unstable spirits into the home and create a poison arrow, if you will, where the fast-moving energy is almost attacking the home nonstop. It's relentless. The master tells the family, over time, living in a house with bad feng shui will drain your spirit. And once you're in this vulnerable, weakened state, you can easily be possessed by bad spirits. Every day that the demons have been growing, it's even more dangerous to get rid of them. You have to be very, very proactive. Do you understand? Now, side note.
And also, like, what he said about that being bad energy, like whether you or not you believe in energy, that it sounds a little cuckoo, right? But he's right though. If you live on a T-junction road, you're gonna hear all of the random bullshit that's happening outside. You're gonna hear loud cars, so you're gonna be less peaceful, you know? So like if you boil it down, like the teachings benefit you, like I would say like a smooth 80% of the time, okay?
Note, anybody living in a house in a T-junction, don't freak out. I think this has as much power over you as you believe it does. I would say most people that I know believe in feng shui in a rather casual, like they don't really believe spirits will come, but just the flow. Yeah. The flow of your furniture. They honestly treat it more like a design suggestion, so don't freak out. Nothing's going to happen to you. But like I said, this is just an extreme case with people who have very strong extreme beliefs. But conveniently, the master can fix it.
Also, let's say true, because you're right in the yeah, exactly. So like I said, I think a lot of Eastern teachings, they sound batshit insane if you grew up in the West sometimes, but if you really think about it, like there's normally a message that they're like giving you that's more implied. You know, you just gotta translate it a little bit.
He holds a multi-day exorcism. He states, now the house is...
But like this is too extreme for me, you know, like the way they're explaining it.
There will still be upkeep maintenance, of course. But overall, it's good now. The Woos thought, oh, well, now that you say that, I do feel more relaxed. Even our bodies, I feel like the tension is loosened that we've been holding on to. But just to make sure that the house is ready for the sisters to come home, the Wu family, they purchased a lot of the talismanic papers, the charms from the master, as well as joss sticks. Joss sticks are basically incense sticks.
Is that what they burn? This, I assume, is what they burn, though.
It's believed that if you have a perfumed joss stick to a certain deity, they will be pleased and give you their blessings. And even the number of joss sticks offered is meaningful. 1 stick is for worshipping the deceased. 2 for guardian spirits or for food offerings. 3 is the most common. It represents the core elements. 5 is for worshipping the deities and the elements. 7 sticks is for the sun deity. And the 9 sticks is the most auspicious, they say. It's used for worshipping Buddha's graces or guardian angels. So you burn them at the altar or near the front doors or the windows, and technically you're supposed to use the joss sticks in a well-ventilated area, but the family decide, why don't we plug up every possible ventilation outlet and burn the joss sticks, because that would be the ultimate, deepest cleansing. That would be the most condensed scent, and I think the deities would be the happiest.
So they're gonna give themselves carbon monoxide poisoning. Like, yeah.
Hung fabrics outside their
Don't
house.
do this.
They're described as exorcism
This will
cloths,
kill you.
meaning that they've been blessed and prayed upon, and it's supposed to give the person in need, as well as the property, a spiritual cleansing. It's thought that even touching the cloth can help drive the evil spirits out of you. They fill the entire apartment with the talismanic paper, the fulu, if you will, and they fill it with the joss sticks. They keep burning them. They hang the black clothes outside the window. They have the 8 trigrams posted on their window by their front door.
Sorry.
This is when the 3 sisters are at the mountain.
Yes.
So the father and the parents and the son is doing this at home.
Yes. To get them ready to come back. Because there's no point of them being in the mountain if they're just going to get tainted in the house all over again. And it works. A month later, the Wu sisters come back home from the 5-Finger Mountain, and the family of 6 are reunited. Everyone seems to have their lives restored. The disaster is over. Until one night, all 3 sisters lose their minds, and they start chanting incantations, saying they want to return home. This is not home. They need to go to their real home. And this is how everything spirals out of control until 1 ends up dead and 5 end up missing. The movie Incantation is a found footage horror film that people genuinely thought was cursed. Even if you watch this horror movie, you will be cursed. That was the consensus. One online forum post.
You know you made a good horror film if that's what people saying about it.
Is
it's like that one game we played.
Actually safe for me to
Frank
watch?
Stone?
Can the movie invite actual demonic influence into my home? Viewers have reported feeling cursed after watching the movie. They say, I just watched Incantation last night. I said the chant like 20 times. Power went out a couple minutes later. I've never been so scared in my whole adult life. Another comment reads, just watch Incantation. I'm so freaking cursed now. I think this movie just literally cursed me. The movie Incantation explores the idea of a shared curse, meaning just by watching the movie, by seeing the footage and repeating the incantation in the movie, you now share the curse. The movie tricks you into staring at this symbol. The main character tells the audience, because it's found footage, it's like she's vlogging. She tells the audience that the symbol is for blessings. She asks the audience to help save her daughter from the curse by chanting the incantation together. And she thinks,
you got me figgity up. I'm never, yo, y'all ever see like, what's that one, y'all know when people do like the Candyman or like that other bull crap where they're like, where you do chants and stuff for movies? Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't care. Call me superstitious. Call me bitch made. I'm never doing that. No, I'm never doing it. You got me. I'm good. No, I'm good. Listen, even if it's not real, okay, I don't need a potential reason for it to be real. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good. I'm good off that. I'm chilling. Like, on everything, I am so good. Like, I'm good. I don't care how silly it sounds. It could be, the chant could be rainbow unicorns 3 times. I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it. My life has been hard enough. I don't need to invite some random bullshit into my equation and screw everything up. Yo, what's up, Fruit? How you doing?
thanks everyone by wishing her daughter
Hope you're feeling better.
blessings. So
Also, happy late birthday, by the way, too.
she can be cured. But the truth
chat,
of the
tell Fruit
movie
happy
is
birthday.
the symbol, the incantation, all of it is a curse.
Tax is the only boogeyman
The
I
mother
need.
has asked the audience to repeat these things because she knows they are a curse so that they can take the burden of the curse away from her daughter. They can share the curse with the audience.
Wow.
In the real life case, there is also a shared curse.
What?
It is that of shared delusion, collective psychosis of the entire family.
What did I say? 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 Shared psychosis. I watched this YouTuber's video about 33 shipmen. Wait, was that the one where they like went squid hunting? Or am I thinking of something else? The squid hunting one is crazy, bro. Yeah, that one was crazy. I watched that. Yo, that one was insane.
So after getting back from the mountain, the three sisters start losing their minds. The family's gathered in the living room. The parents and the son are trying to figure out what to do, how to help the sisters. And also, why are all three of them losing their minds? Why are they all possessed all of a sudden? They're burning more joss sticks, chanting more incantations to get rid of the spirits inside their family members. And it's in the middle of all of this that the dad turns to the rest of the family and he announces, "I am the Jade Emperor." The Jade Emperor is a celestial ruler of heaven.
Yo. Yeah, they all gods. They're all gods.
And he has supreme sovereignty over all the deities, immortals, and humans. He's the one, if you remember from our Baby Garden episode, the Chinese zodiac animals were all in a race. He's the one that organized the race. He represents the ultimate authority over the universe.
The dad getting that is kind of fitting.
He's known to be quite compassionate and fair and merciful. And now Mr. Wu claims he is the Jade Emperor, which makes Mrs. Wu stand up. I mean, her husband just lost his mind, and so did her three daughters. And so has she. She states, "I am Queen Mother of the West, one of the most ancient and powerful goddesses."
I mean, if y'all all crazy equally, like, isn't that, like, doesn't that create some harmony where y'all are all, like, equally normal? Like, y'all won't be bothering each other? Like, if you're all gods that already have roles in real life, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all can, you know? Is this RP? No.
She has complete control over creation, destruction, death. Most of her days, she sits there in her peaches of immortality. They have a little garden in their palace. She alone can determine the lifespan of every living being.
Wow.
I need to talk to this guy.
The dad is now the Jade Emperor.
How long do I got?
The mom is the Queen Mother of the West, the Emperor's wife. The eldest daughter is still the goddess of
I might around and, only have 15 minutes. So let me know.
mercy.
I ate too much candy corn.
The second daughter, Sister B, claims she's the seventh fairy, the youngest daughter of the Jade Emperor and his wife.
Okay, I'm just wondering, what's the little son like? What is he gonna be like? I'm human.
Wow.
Like, is he too young to get the contagion
sister,
psychosis?
The one that came home from college and started having the nightmares. She claims she is now the third prince, the protector of children, the guardian prince, leaving just the youngest Wu family son.
No, I didn't get candy corn to troll Twitter. Unironically, I got it to try it, and it's low-key, like, kind of good. I've eaten, like, this whole bag.
He looks up at his family members standing there, and he says, "Everyone stop. I am the drunken monk."
What?
This is another character. He looks up at the
Wait.
nightmares. She claims she is now the third prince, the protector of children, the guardian prince, leaving just the youngest Wu
The
family
young son
son.
gets it
He
too?
looks up at his family members standing there, and he says, "Everyone stop.
How old is he?
I am the drunken monk."
Whoa, how you drinking, little man? How you drinking, little man? Hey, is that legal?
Another character from mythology, a monk that was unconventional in the fact that he was always drunk, but his heart was always in the right place.
Oh, I know. Yes. Okay. 济公 is the name.
So they're all good deities from what I can tell.
Yeah.
The whole family at this point believe that they're all possessed. But what are the odds that all 6 of them are possessed by good deities? Slim to none, that's what they think. They think there must be at least one person in this family that has been possessed by a devil, and that is why everybody else is possessed by a good deity to get rid of that demon.
Listen, they're crazy, but they're cooking while being crazy. Like that theory, listen, it sounds kind of sound. I'm just saying, hey, listen, they might have broken the sound barrier with how sound it was, but like, I understand. I feel it. I'm just saying. That makes sense to me, and I don't believe in any of this.
And it's up to them to figure out
think it's logical.
the fake one. When the police are called to the Wu residence, the family are not found until 3 days later. So they find the eldest
Now, I do feel like this is going to lead to some paranoia, and they're going to do some Among Us stuff, and while trying to cleanse one of them, they were kind of going to kill them, and that's exactly what happened. But like,
Sister A's body, and then the family is found 3 days later in a temple about an hour away from their home. The 5 remaining Wu family members are covered in bruises, as well as the same scars that Sister A had, those circular burn marks.
do they all eat poop too?
The police have so many questions. Sister A is dead. The whole house is smeared in poop. The rest of the family have similar burns to Sister A. What happened in the past 2 months in that house? At this point, the dad refuses to talk to the police. He states he will be haunted by demons by disclosing secrets. He's not taking that risk ever again. The police try to talk to the mom. The mom is sitting curled up in the interrogation room, and the interrogator is trying to ask her where the family has been for the past few days. We had to leave to avoid disaster. Avoid disaster? What disaster? The mother looks up and starts shouting. She seems paranoid. She keeps looking around. If you don't leave, you might be possessed. When confronted with her daughter's death, the mother just kept repeating, it's not my daughter who died, but the demon who is attached to her. The police are getting frustrated, so they try to think of something different. They bring in the Emperor's Ruler, which is this square wooden stick. It has sacred titles of deities and scriptures carved into the wooden stick. It's supposed to cleanse evil spirits and block them from entering. Do they believe in the Emperor's Ruler? No, the police do not, but it's only when they bring this in that everyone starts opening up and starts sharing what happened in the past 2 months.
What?
The past 2 months has been an utter living hell in the Wu
police
residence.
cook.
Each one of them becomes possessed by a deity. They all come to the same conclusion that there's just no way that every single one of them is possessed by a good deity. So there must be a demon amongst the group, because why else would they be suddenly possessed
this
by
was Among Us
powerful
before
gods?
Among Us.
They just need to figure out who is the demon. So first they start by sprinkling the floors of the entire apartment with rice grains and salt, because demons don't like that. They believe the salt will purify the evil spirits and neutralize their bad intentions. They start setting up ceremonial arrangements where they place ritual objects, talismans, offering in a specific layout to expel the evil spirits. And each time they pick a new victim. They just go in circles being like, that one is the one with the demon. Neighbors said they would see this through the windows and they would hear it. They would force one of the family members to kneel down, and they would just use their hands like automatic slappers, just slapping their face left and right to beat the demon out of them.
You know, if it happened to everyone in the family, they're like collectively all agreeing to it. So
They do that to
that
everyone,
complicates it.
Yes.
including parents.
Yes. And it's not working. So they start taking rice, turning it into sticky rice, mixing it with salt, and smearing it all over each other to get rid of the spirits. Still nothing. Because the indicator is the demon is gone, the rest of the possessions will be gone. But if they're still possessed by these deities, that means the demon is still here in this very living room. They start smearing each other with sticky rice, salt, but nothing. And that's when they start beating each other. They take turns. Every day it's someone else with a broomstick, with
That's crazy. I'm not gonna lie though. Like I said, at least everyone agreed and everyone participated. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like someone was like, I don't want to do this, and the family's like, you're doing it.
mops, walking sticks. They're using the joss sticks to burn holes into each other, like you would burn cigarette marks, but with the joss sticks. It's said that deities prefer cleanliness, even demons. I guess the logic the family comes up with is that if the spirits, all spirits, even the bad ones, hate dirtiness, that means they like cleanliness. Then if you make yourself so dirty, why would a spirit want to be in you or be around you? Why would they possess you if they hate dirtiness that much? That's how.
So this how they brought the fecal matter out. This is how they brought the caca out the cockpit.
They start smearing human excrement all over the walls, as well as on the dinner plates. They splash each other with urine and feces, and when that still does not work, they resort to cleansing the spirits from within. Which I guess in that moment in their minds, it makes sense to a degree that they would need to consume the feces and urine.
I wouldn't go that far, Stephanie. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go you know what I'm saying? Like, I guess to them it made sense. You know, I was saying they cook sometimes, but this, science says that this will kill you due to disease. So I wouldn't go that far. You know, to them, they thought it made sense.
They start fasting. They don't eat any other food. And this is actually showcased in the movie as well, Incantation. They start starving and only feeding themselves feces.
But the whole family would be dead if they did that. That's the thing that doesn't make sense to me.
The entire family show the authorities all their scars to show the eldest daughter was not the only one injured in this mass exorcism they were trying to hold. But still, it doesn't matter. Clearly, her injuries were the worst that caused her to die. To which the mother has a theory. She explains to the detectives that the demon that possessed her daughter was successfully exorcised. Because of the exorcism, because she was the first to get possessed and had been possessed for so long, her real soul could not return to her body, which led to her death. After 2 months of torture, Sister A, the eldest, had passed. And now talking about it, the family seemed relieved. They finally got the demon that was plaguing the family. I mean, even if it results in the loss of their own daughter, they seem relieved. The police obviously bring in a psychiatrist to evaluate the family one by one.
Yeah, please tell me what the psychiatrist said. This is the part I'm interested in. What was the key issue?
It's that none of them have any sort of mental condition that would set off psychosis. None of them are schizophrenic with hallucinations.
None of them are schizophrenic? You lying. This makes no sense to me. No, this is crazy. This is crazy. There is no way.
Individually, they all seem like completely normal people. Completely normal people is how the psychiatrist phrases it, not me, okay? But it's when they're together for those past few months, what they all partake in, it seems like a shared delusion, collective psychosis. That's the only thing that the psychiatrist could come up with. It is the psychiatrist's belief that they genuinely believe that there was a demon inside of one of them. That is a belief that they shared. Legally speaking, the burns and beating scars were not fatal enough to cause the eldest daughter's death.
It was 100% the fecal matter. It was the fecal matter.
Death was multiple organ failure, which was her willingly eating feces paired with her willingly starving herself, which led to her organs shutting down. The prosecutors state that it does not appear that she was forced, trapped, or bound to any of those things. She was beat, but they don't believe that she had no way out. It seems like she was as deep in the delusion as everybody else. The family members were initially charged and found not guilty of murder. Their exorcism did not directly result in her death.
Like, if the daughter believed it and ate it too when everyone else did and did the same thing, like, that is kind of sticky. Because it's like, at that point, what can you say?
They were charged with then the crime of abandoning a corpse after death, but it does not appear that any of them served any jail time.
Basically, they do believe this is the actual event. Like, they all kind of felt like they were possessed, and that was the truth.
And a lot of people who know the family for, as long as they've been around, they said that they are especially superstitious. They are probably as extreme as it gets. So it's not out of nowhere it happened. It seems like it's ingrained in them. They had this very long-term belief in these types of things.
Yeah.
I think the reason it got so bad is since they were all together, they were like feeding off of each other's like paranoia. You know when like you in a kind of a situation with people and like one person freaks out, then someone else freaks out, then everyone else freaks out, and then it just like starts spreading.
And just like that, after this, the family goes back to living normally. No possessions, which has sparked a lot of people to come up with their own theories, because how can they just suddenly go back to normal? Some netizens believe that they were actually possessed by spirits, and now that the demon spirit is gone, the family has naturally returned back to normal. Some neighbors believe this to be true because after the eldest daughter's death, all of them start donating money to the family to exorcise the spirits of the eldest daughter from the house, once and for all. They're like, because your daughter died in here, you need to exorcise the house all over again. So some of these people have very firm beliefs that this is genuinely what happened. Some argued one of the biggest problems here is that the family enshrined many different statues of gods at the same time, which means the gods had to compete for the incense they believe in, which then caused them to go after family members to try and gain more power in the home. One netizen comments, they were all possessed by evil spirits and demons, and that's why this happened. Then you have most people who believe they were in a shared psychosis, a shared delusion. I would say that, the family was entranced, just not by demons. One source states that the local psychiatrist actually believes the family to have been a state of mass hysteria. They state a lot of people might find it hard to believe considering how few of the family members were in the medical field. So 2 of them were studying to be nurses. One of them was already a nurse, the daughters. But the family has always been very superstitious. So that coupled with sleep deprivation, lack of food and water, the repetition of praying at the altars. One netizen comment reads, "The whole family is sick. Sometimes being too superstitious is also a disease." Another one comments, "I once heard a Taoist priest say, if you feel something strange about your body, please see a doctor first. If you still don't feel well, then you come to us for treatment." So they're saying, this is a very real belief and a lot of people honor it, but this is just so extreme.
Yeah, this is crazy. So they don't know, bro. That's terrifying.
Another netizen writes, "There is nothing wrong with the faith itself. It can be a spiritual substance, but excessive superstition is a huge mistake."
Huh?
One netizen agrees, writing, "Faith should lead people to the right path and bring peace of mind, rather than causing trouble to others or even harming themselves or others." another group of people believe, yes, they were in a state of mass hysteria, but it was brought on by a bad master. They likely went to a public temple in the mountain in the woods, the Five Finger Mountain, where they think that maybe they had run into someone who does not practice these types of things well. Someone who perhaps wants a lot of money and sees this as an opportunity, a family who is so distraught by even just a few nightmares, he starts implanting all these crazy ideas into the sisters' minds before they leave.
That makes sense
Likely
too.
the master never thought it would spiral into something like this, but it did. Then you have another group of people
Creating like a
that
repeat
think,
customer.
well, aside from superstitions, let's put aside mass hysteria. Some people are even more cynical of people, and they think that the family from day one wanted to kill the eldest daughter.
Whoa.
Or at least the parents did. They tricked the other children into believing the superstition so that they could get the job done. There's really no proof behind this at all. I mean, there's no proof behind any of these theories or anything at all in this
That
case.
could have happened
they
too.
think, what if it's an expertly planned murder by the family to get rid of the eldest daughter?
But why the hell do they want to get rid of her if she was already out of their life and not a problem? Like, she already lived alone with her boyfriend, right? And ran like a convenience store or something. Like, why? Like, they're not even directly really involved with you anymore. I just feel like people normally don't. In that sense, it doesn't make sense because why would you like create more problems to get rid of someone that was already like 80% out the door? You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you did nothing, you would have way less trouble and get the same result. Yo, Holly Jolly, thanks so much for the raid.
For whatever reason. Other netizens point out how it's convenient and interesting that the family comes back to their senses after the eldest daughter's death and they're never possessed again. I would say that's a little tricky, but that's a belief that is floating out there. And lastly, a good chunk of people believe, yeah, it could also just be mold poisoning. They're saying that the apartment that they lived in was a little bit older, it was a little bit more rundown, and Taiwan being near water, things get moldy. It's a very tropical climate.
Yeah, it's very humid during summer.
So people are saying it could have been some sort of toxic substance in the house. Has anybody looked into that? And they're not getting ventilation because they're closing up all the windows.
That's true too. Cause like, okay, if you have less, necessary resources like clean air, or water or whatever, like even like sleep deprivation, for example, like you start to kind of become mentally erratic because your brain is freaking out because it's not getting what it needs. Like your body's not getting what it needs, so your organs aren't working, so your brain in theory can like create some psychotic episode.
They're getting sleep deprived. It could definitely be mold poisoning.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of discourse about all of that, but that's the case. That's it. They just went on to live the rest of their lives. Nobody has really heard from them since. To the point where people are like, this feels like an urban legend.
So the movie was inspired by this case,
Yes,
or?
inspired by the case.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a lot of discourse about the movie as well, Incantation. I think it's very interesting. So some netizens have stated the message of the film is brilliant because they state it's a replication of religion and spiritual beliefs in a movie form. So if you believe in a spiritual belief or a religion in real life, right, it becomes more real to you. So same with the movie. They're saying if you say these incantations and you are a little bit more superstitious, then you're going to believe you are cursed.
Yeah.
So it really is fascinating. That's what people say.
That kind of makes sense though. You know?
Don't know, okay? They state that the fact that everyone is in a theater chanting this terrifying curse, you could go one or the other way with it. You could go home thinking you've been cursed, or you could realize, wow, it no longer holds power. Because when all of us are chanting it, nothing happened. So there's also this discourse of a lot of these things feel very individual based. Like nobody wants to be individually cursed. But when they're doing it in a group, it feels like a crazy fun human experience activity. I don't know.
See, even like this whole case, I just feel like, as someone who's not very spiritual, it feels like, let's say the family, everything they said was true, it just feels like they're very open to suggestions. So it started with a dream, and then they believed it, and they act upon it. And then they feel like, the eldest daughter feel like, oh, she is possessed.
Mm-hmm.
And then she
Yeah,
started
I do
having
agree.
dreams, and
Like,
then they
it's
took
like
action, and
honestly, they were like a recipe for like outside influences to just manipulate them to their benefit. And I think also there's an aspect of like desperation. Like when you're so desperate for a solution, you kind of try the most obscene shit. And listen, as someone who's had a lot of medical problems that are like really not solved to this day, like I've tried some crazy stuff. Okay, listen, you got me. I had people like doing lasers on me. I had someone telling me like I was cursed with a parasite. Okay, I was going to like, random, like, like I was doing anything, bro. Okay. And like none of it was working. And the less normal stuff that worked, the more absurd stuff you try.
and they feel like things are better. But then like something else happened. So everything's like suggestion. And then
Yes.
they all lost their mind.
Oh, and just another quick disclaimer. Religion and like spiritual practices are different. I keep grouping religion into it because a lot of people in Taiwan consider it a religion. Some people consider it more so like a folk religion that they practice. Some consider it like a full-blown religion, so that's why. But I do think it's very interesting because I'm not a very spiritual person, but I am incredibly superstitious. And I think I forced myself not to go down that path because what you were saying once you know something, you start spiraling. So I feel like if I were to talk to someone who could spiritually tell me my future or how I behave, it would just be living in my head.
You're more...
Yeah, it's almost like you get the suggestion from it. Like, same with like fortune tellers. Because someone said it's in your future, you kind of believe it, and then you almost subconsciously do things to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like that paradox in like movies where like trying to prevent the future normally causes it to happen. You know? Why people believe in tarot. I think tarot is a masterful psychology workspace. Tarot implies on... I don't believe in tarot at all, to be honest with you, in the way that it's taught, that it's worked. But I do believe it gives you answers that you already know yourself. So what it does is like, it'll be like, hey, this card means this, like you're like, there will be a change that will happen soon. Or like, it means we see change. And what you do is like, there's no real like the card you get is irrelevant. Okay. The card you get is irrelevant. What it does is it puts in your mind, hey, there could be change. And then you start thinking what could change. And then you think, you relate it to your real life and you think what could change. And then you think what could change. You already know what could change in your brain. You just haven't thought about it in such a linear, isolated way yet. And since someone is pointing it out and being like, hey, this could change, you start to believe it, or you start to like think about it and reflect on like why or what. And that's how it can give some people some sense of guidance. But in actuality, what card you get, which draw, with the luck of the draw, whatever, is irrelevant and completely like nonsensical if you actually think about it. Any card you could get at any time will have the same effect depending on what you're going through. It just depends on the person. That's why every tarot card reader can read the book and like 9 times out of 10, like it will still like kind of give some insight, even if you're not that great at it, you know? Or if something does change, you'll auto link it to the reading. Like it's like the best way, the healthiest way I could say you could use tarot is it allows you to bring forth thoughts you already had in your own head in like a more recognizable way. It like allows you to kind of reflect on stuff you hadn't really thought about as deeply, or you don't have as like clear of a thought about, and it kind of gives you a clear way to look at it and reflect. But like the cards or whoever's reading it doesn't... irrelevant. It's literally like, it does not matter. It does not matter. It's just based on the fact that like everyone is prone to relate certain things that they're told, if they believe it enough, to their real life, and it will impact them in a way to either take action or think about it. Because if someone were to tell you, I sense change in your life or something, and you don't believe it, then you're like, okay, whatever. But if you believe it, you'll like think about what could change or like it only works as much as you believe in it, but it doesn't solve your problems. It more so makes you aware of them, is what I'm saying. It's just like, it's like if you have like, you know, something like covered, like let's say you have like a book covered with like a bunch of, you know, dust or whatever. It's like dusting off the dust and making you aware that the book is there. That's like the best way I can explain it. So it really doesn't like do anything itself. It's more like makes you aware of things you could do or things you weren't thinking about. So like low-key, you could read your own tarot and it would probably work. It just probably works less because you're the one reading the stuff out of the book, so it seems less specific.
Suggestible.
Yeah, you're more suggestible. Like
so suggestible.
Yeah, you will start see things and feel things.
Yes.
And think about these things like constantly in your head.
Because I know a lot of people might look at the family and think, wow, this is so dumb, but I can't even do that because I think I'm a little bit more suggestible than most people. So I feel like if I were really in that situation and I grew up in that environment with my family believing in all of this so strongly, especially parents believing it, those are your guidance figures. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yet the director of the movie once stated, when I heard the story of the real case in the news, I realized that I didn't dare to know too much about what happened, and I was surprised at how much the topic scared me. Then I realized that the fears surrounding religious beliefs and taboos are very obscure. It's something we can't shake off. We don't need to convince people that it's real. Rather, we tell them it's fake, but even then it's still scary. Why are we so scared of things we know are fake? So he's not saying the religion is fake, but the movie itself is fake. He's saying all the incantations, the symbols, they made up.
Yeah.
Someone just like whipped it out, but people are so scared, even though they're told it's fake, it's fake, it's fake.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's as believable as you make it be, essentially. Which is like fascinating in a way. In a really odd way, but it is fascinating. Which is why, like, I don't know. I feel like people that do tarot readings or all that too much for guidance, it's almost like the equivalent of, in my opinion, watching a self-help video but never practicing any of the strategies they give you. Like, you can watch a video telling you how to improve your life so many times, and 9 times out of 10 it makes you think you are improving your life because it's easier than actually getting off your ass and trying to improve it, you know? You feel like by knowing the knowledge, you're like therefore gonna take action, but that's not really the case with a lot of people, and a lot of people like become nuts of self-help content because it makes them feel like they're being productive toward bettering themselves, when in reality they're just consuming a bunch of information and then doing nothing with it, you know? Which is why I also think like people that are overly invested in like tarot or anything like that can fall victim to the same thing, at least in my opinion. You know, I guarantee there's some like, you know, person who like believes to die in tarot. It's gonna be like, you're disregarding that. Listen, bro, you can believe tarot is as real as you want. I'm gonna believe it as it's as real as I think it is. Okay, I'm just explaining what I think. I'm not telling you your way is wrong.